Imagine a device you invented that can record memories, dreams, ideas, and transmit them from one person to another person's brain. What do you imagine? Something futuristic? Are there lots of wires on a helmet? Maybe like something from a sci-fi movie, like in this picture? It's not so far-fetched to think about such images because I think, in fact, there are technologies out there that can read certain brain activities and transfer them from a computer to a person. But I'm not going to talk about that because, in fact, I'm going to talk about a device we already have, already exists. It's called communication. Communication is a process of transferring this information between a sender and a receiver, and it comes in many different versions. It can be nonverbal, verbal, written, or visual. However, like any device, it can malfunction. There's a miscommunication between a sender and receiver. It can lead to errors. Like any device, it's not perfect. It can often malfunction or respond not as expected, have some bugs, lead to some confusion. And unfortunately, it doesn't come with a manual. Because unsuccessful attempts of communication occur when the receiver creates a different message than the one the sender intended. So comes these poor communication come in many different forms and versions. It can be simple things at home when this person thinks, why don't he talk to me? Did I say something wrong? The person is completely unrelated, thinking about a different subject, and asks them, did I leave the oven on? At school, college, if your professor says your essay must be 4 pages long, is that clear? Do we have shared meaning between the professor and the students? I don't think so. I think the obligation of the students is maybe to ask questions, and the professor has to be more specific and say, what font size? Does it include pages, cover pages, references? So that we have shared meaning. At work, an example, let's assume today is Friday. Your boss says, I need this done by next Monday. How many days do you have time? Your boss might think you have 3 days time. Next Monday is in 3 days. But you might think I have 10 days time. So there's no shared meaning. Miscommunication happened here. Why does this matter? Why does communication matter at all? Why are we talking about it? Super important because ineffective communication can affect many stakeholders. Stakeholders? What are stakeholders? It's not a person holding a stake. Stakeholders are people or groups affected by miscommunication, by communication in general, from your employees, the customers, competitors, suppliers, to, depending on size of the company, cities or a nation. Okay, and costs can be very high of ineffective communication, from losing clients, increased training costs, low employee productivity, conflict, and so on. These are all costs, real world costs that we have to consider. That is why employers look for good communication skills in candidates' resumes. Is always highly valued. Like problem solving skills, you better make sure you have to know communicate effectively, ability to work in a team, you have high emotional intelligence, communication skills, written, verbal, and so on. This is very important to employers. Luckily, there's an instruction manual to how to communicate, or kind of, sort of. Why kind of? Because it depends. Depends on what? Depends on the situation. What's your goal? What's the audience? You unfortunately can't copy paste the same way you talk to one person, one group to another. You have to adjust tone, adjust nuance, adjust your communication style depending who's in the room. What does communication look like? Is it one way or two way? You might think it's one way if you watch TV, you watch an ad on YouTube. But think about it, it's always two way. Why is that? Because your reaction might come as an emotional response. Maybe you like an ad a lot, you responded, you like it a lot, and then you're going to respond with your wallet and buy the product or the service. Or you dislike the ad completely. You might go to your friends and talk negatively about that product, that company. We might go even out of your way and make a social media post about that product, that you don't like that product or ad, or write bad reviews. So it's always two-way. Communication is always two ways. Think about it this way. It takes both sides to build a bridge if you're a visual learner. In the next video, we're going to talk about the interpersonal communication model. How does it look like when a sender and receiver communicate? How does that loop, how does that two-way communication street look like?